Hello friend, welcome back to Auto Resource YouTube channel. I have here today this 2010 Subaru Forester X for a bunch of service, and one of them is an engine oil and filter change. If you want to see how I will deal with it, stay with me in this video. The lift is today blocked with Tacoma, which needs a head gasket, so that's a many days job. So I will start with lifting this Forester, a little bit off the ground on both sides, and putting it safely on the jack stand so I can work underneath it. After that I move into the engine bay area. I remove the dipstick, wipe it off, right? You can also check how much oil was remaining there, because these boxes are consuming engine oil, you know that, right? And I will unscrew this filler cap, but I will just let it sit here, right, that the dust doesn't get there. If you are worried about dust, you can put that dipstick slightly back also. And that means I'm ready to get underneath the vehicle with my oil catching pan and a 17mm socket and a ratchet. And I already put it on that bolt, so you can see when that engine oil pan is and where is that drain plug. So I'm ready to continue with removing that drain plug, right? Oh, that was pretty okay tight. I will correct and bring in that drain pan a little bit closer to it, right? I don't have any spills, because there's always, it's coming with some kind of force. Yep. And here you can actually see that oil, how dark it is, right? And it's nicely coming out. I'm having here that drain bolt with the washer, which is on it, and I will show you that later. And it was pretty quick. You can see it's slowing down, right? So it's all going really good. Here you can nicely see that drain plug. Right, I will turn it also. That's that 17mm wrench or socket, and this is that crusher washer, which should be replaced when we will be putting it back. And this engine is really draining fast. That's awesome. It's barely dripping. You can probably see it nicely. And that means we can turn our attention on the engine oil filter, which is right here in this opening. And I don't think my oil catching pan is large enough to catch the oil dripping from this drain. And also when I will undo that filter, it might spill on the ground. So I will first install the drain plug with the new washer, tight it nice and snug, and then I will deal with the filter. So here is my new washer on that drain plug. I will put it back by the hand, right? It's going nicely. There are no problems with the thread, which is a great news. And you can notice right now here I changed my ratchet. I'm not using the big one, I'm just using the small one for better feel. You wanna put it nice and snug, but you don't want to over tight it and strip the thread in the pen, right? So I'm feeling it here. I could use the torque wrench, but to be honest, I don't know what is the torque for this plug on this Subaru. So nice and snug in this case. Of course, I will always clean it, wipe it off, right? I don't want to have ever any drips after the customer leaves, goes home, so that means to be perfect. And finally, let's move on that filter. I have repositioned that catching pan right underneath it, right? And let's see if I'm lucky and I will be able to unscrew that filter just by the hand. If the mechanic did it right, I will be able to do it by hand, and guess what? They did a good job. I am able to loosen it. So now it started moving. So I will loosen it probably like 2 turns, because the oil will start coming out. So look at it, 1, 2, 3, and get my hand away, and look at it, started nicely dripping out. Now I will leave it like that for a couple of minutes. Now when it stops dripping in a few minutes, right, as we discussed, I can go ahead and finish removing that filter. There will be still oil in it, right, so get ready for it. Have a rag for your hands and so on. That's a long thread, so you will keep turning and turning until it will finally give up. And you see again, right, it's going off, and I'm draining that filter here in the pan not to make any mess. So this is perfect. I got lucky in this one. Now you can see these filters are pretty tiny, right? There are two options or two things you can do right now. Due to the orientation of the filter this way, right, it's not sideways. You can actually fill it like halfway or 2/3 up with the brand new oil, right, which will help with the lubrication after that initial startup when the vehicle will start. If you put it back with some oil in it, it's better than when it's empty and the engine oil pump needs to send the new oil in it. Also, when you are putting it back, lubricate this rubber o-ring with the engine oil, the new engine oil, and carefully thread it right up there. You see it? I don't want to get a drip on my camera. You can also clean it, use the rag and clean it. If you can see there, make sure it's everything perfect and put the filter back. It will be screwed by the hand only. Don't use any wrenches. I can nicely see there it stopped dripping, so I'm cleaning it as I just mentioned. Now I will fill that new filter partially with the oil and screw it back. Here it is what I meant with it. I will carefully try to pour. Oh, yeah. Slow down. You don't want to overfill it, right? Perfect. So it looks, I have it just 2/3 filled. That's perfect. I have also new oil here, right? So I lubricate this gasket, rubber gasket. But outside it's perfectly clean, so I can lay down again and screw it back into the engine. And if you do it this way, you can be proud of yourself, right? For doing the maximum for this engine, for your vehicle. There's nothing else you can really do or improve, right? So once again, carefully, I need to catch that thread, right? You don't want to so feel it. When it will finally catch, you remember it was a lot of turning. Okay, it's going. I know it's perfect. And it will be tightened by the hand only, right? It needs to get tight, not just loose. You don't want this filter fall off and destroy the engine. So tight, but the hand only. And I'm done here underneath the vehicle. Awesome. Here you can finally see how that engine oil was dirty. And I'm pretty sure 100% of you will agree there was a time to do this oil change. I have removed everything from underneath the vehicle. I'm done there, so I will start carefully lowering back down to the ground. And the Subaru is back on the ground. What is important, the ground needs to be perfectly level, otherwise the measurements of the oil will be not precise. I went and grabbed a suitable funnel for this application, right, which nicely fits right here. I know that will work good. And now is the question, what oil and how much? So the factory, if you read your manual, tells you 5W30. You're supposed to use normal conventional oil. However, your manual also says that you can use synthetic oil in this engine. I have synthetic blend, perfectly right between. Now how much of that oil I need? Again, if you check manual for this engine, it says clearly 4.2 quarts. So what I will do here, I will pour 4 quarts and start measurements using the dipstick, right, to see how much oil is in it. I do this video for sharing, right, sharing my knowledge, and you are very welcome. Always comment and share your stuff, your knowledge about the cars and whatever you do with yours. Here it's a little hint. I don't know why Napa will sell this 5 US quarts, right? 5 quarts for $11.99, 12 bucks. I don't know why. I consider it big deal. That's a little hint to you. And yes, I'm not sponsored by the Napa. I bought it by my own money. I'm just wanna let you know that sometimes they have these mega deals. Looking on the back of this container, which has a 5 quarts, I can see I'm down to the last one, right? So I used 4. Time for using the dipstick. Take some measurements. So I have a clean rag here. I will once again make sure the dipstick is completely dry, right? And now I have chance to put it all the way in and look where the level is. And wow, yeah, if you look with me, I'm not sure if you will see it. There is that shiny area, right? If you check both sides, one of them was somewhere in 2/3. One of them is all the way up, but you always go with the short one, right? That shows the real level. So I can definitely pour that 0.2, right, to make it 4.2. I will wipe everything clean, right? I don't want to have any spills. I will nicely close this filler cap, right? And nicely says even here 5W30. Make sure the dipstick is all the way down, and I'm ready to remove these things and start up the engine. Here you can see the rest of the oil. You can also see I open my garage door. You need a fresh air, right? You don't want to poison yourself in closed garage running the motor. That will be a big mistake. Right here I have a key, and I will observe if there is that engine oil pressure light. Oh yeah, this one. I will observe that, and that needs to go off pretty soon after startup. Let's observe it right now. Oh yeah, did you see that? It just flashed, but the pump build up the pressure, engine oil pressure, and everything is good. Now I can go out there, check underneath it for possible leaks, right? But I'm letting it run for 1 minute, and I will shut off the engine after that time. Safety, right? Everything's good here. Looking underneath, you have a mistake, there will be oil leaking, but everything is fine. So after approximately 1 minute, I will shut it off. And to get that final measurement using the dipstick, right, the correct one, you have to wait at least 5 minutes for the oil nicely drain back to the oil pan, and then you can use the dipstick the way we did. Then obviously it can be a little bit lower, so if you need to add, you use the same way we just did, and you are done with this engine oil change. I hope you find this video interesting, maybe helpful to give you courage to do your own oil change. Please always be safe, observe safety, that's most important, right? And have fun. I think it's a nice thing to do it by yourself. It gives you different feeling about the ownership, this wonderful Subaru. Thanks for watching and have a great day, my friend.